Hi everybody, welcome to EduTap and also welcome to the ARD Simplified Series for the NABARD Grade A exam. And the topic that we have picked up today is agriculture extension in India. And why have we picked up this topic? Because if you look at the previous year question, this topic has been asked both in your NABARD Grade A objective format, multiple choice question format, and also in the descriptive answer writing. All right. So we will look at the most important aspects of this chapter, starting off with like the definition. What is the definition? What are the different classifications of it, different methods of providing agriculture extension in India, how does it or how did it evolve in India, right? Starting off like when it was introduced in India, and now what is the current progress, and at the end we will look at some advantages also that we have gained from agriculture extension. Okay, starting off with like what is this agriculture extension. Before that, let me tell you something else. So broadly, if we classify education that we commonly know of, can be categorized into two categories. One is the informal education and another one is the formal education. All right, informal education, like which we get from our surroundings since the time we are born. Like for example, you learn from your surrounding or from your parents how to walk, how to talk, how to run, right? And in fact every day you are learning something new, right, from the people around you. So that is your informal education, which you keep on learning from the surrounding as you grow up, as you move forward, right? That is the informal education, and it is free of cost, right? Next is the formal education. This is the system, this is the type of education which we learn from a institution, right? For example, you go to school, you go to college, so that's a formal institution where you go, you do learning, and here the education is always vertical in nature. Vertical means from teacher only, means एक तरीके से दूसरी साइड जाएगी, means there will be a teacher and then he will only be or she will only be teaching you the things. You as a student don't know much about it, and teachers, as they are more experienced or they have more knowledge than you, right, they teach you, right? So that is your formal education. And in formal education, it's always a step by step process. For example, you will enter 10th standard only if you have done 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, right? You might skip like one or two classes here or there, but there is a defined set pattern to it, right? So that is your formal education. Okay, so broadly we know these two, but there is a third one also, that is known as non-formal education, which is a little bit in between of both. What is non-formal education? In non-formal education, people are made to learn something new, which is not very common in the surrounding, but it is done outside the formal education system. For example, you must have heard of that a lot of awareness drives or campaigns that are run in different towns, different villages. It can be related to sanitation, it can be related to maybe hygiene maintenance, right? It can be anything, you must have heard. Or even for that matter, you must have heard of like adult education. What is this? So here what happens, a lot of people who could not get literate when they were younger because they had to their family responsibility, and when they become adult, means 18 plus they have become, and now they want to learn about it. So we have for them adult education where they can learn these things. Okay, means they can learn how to be literate, they can read and write, right, and all that stuff that is provided to them. Now what has been happened over here, these are not the regular sort of knowledge that we are talking about. Hygiene is not something, it can be informal, you can say in a educated family, but if you talk about a village or maybe a place where nobody is educated, even hygiene, how having proper hygiene, having sanitation, even that is not very common in the surrounding. So we have to teach them these things, right? And because we are teaching them outside a formal education system, this is known as non-formal. And from here only this term has originated, which is your extension education. Okay, extension is a Latin word, or it has Latin roots, where ex means out, means outside. What? Outside your formal education system. Tensio means stretching, you are stretching this education outside the formal education system, because nobody can afford to go to colleges or schools, right? But they must be taught about things, so that is known as your extension education. Okay, now that's a simple meaning. And extension education can be of variety sort, as I gave you some example of hygiene, sanitation, etc. It can even be for savings also, for anything. Like for example, the literate people or the people or NGOs, they would want the people who are deprived section of society to learn something so that their livelihood can be improved. All that thing will come under your non-formal education, because they are teaching them outside the formal education system, because that deprived group cannot afford to go there. Okay. We will call it agriculture extension now, because the farming has always been part of our culture, right? But and understanding that what kind of crop varieties can help them get more profit, or what type of technologies the farmers they can use in their land, right? Giving this information is your agriculture extension, because not all farmers are going to the colleges to schools. Most of the farmers in our country, they are doing this from generations, right? So they do have the skill how to do farming, but they are not getting that much profit which they can actually earn by understanding what the scientists are doing in the labs, whatever the discovery scientists are making in the labs, or even innovations they are making in the lab. Farmers must be made aware about it, so that it can be actually implemented in the land. This is known as what? This is known as your agriculture extension. So simply, if we talk about what is extension education, please keep in mind we're not talking about agriculture extension, we are saying extension education. It means the type of the education which is stretched out from the formal institution into the villages or fields beyond the limit of schools, to teach them something new. Okay. And when do we call it extension education? We call it extension education, I'm sorry, agriculture extension, when we are talking about the educational programs that are run for the transfer of knowledge, science and technologies, okay, from the laboratories to the farm, so that they can do better farm planning, better decision making, they can do use of input, storage, processing, marketing, anything can be improved. So that is what, that is your agriculture extension. Okay. I hope now you have the clear understanding of how you can give these teaching method, means how can you teach them. Okay. You can teach them there on there are broadly two categories on the basis of how you like use the tools that are there, or how do you contact with the farmers, and another one is like what are the material that you are using. ठीक है. अब पहले मैं आपका मटेरियल में जैसे सिंपल ये हो गया, if you are using phone calls, if you are using pamphlets or booklets to teach them something, right? I mean, for example, in the villages they have just distributed the pamphlet, right? So that is also form of a teaching, but that in the form of like pamphlets you are doing that, or you have shown them a picture, so that's a separate thing. But these are the most important one, जिसमें क्या करते हैं, what are the teaching methods according to the use. Individual contact method. ठीक है. Individual contact method में, as the name suggests, the extension officer or maybe the extension officer and the farmers, they are in contact. ठीक है. तो it can be done with farm and home visits. Visit means extension officer will come to the village, ठीक है, and he will go to the farmers land, and he would check and like give them the advice they want, or give him the advice they want. Okay. So that is farm and home visit, that can be done. Another is office calls. Sometime, like for example, if extension officer is not able to go for the farm visit, then in that case the farmer can call them. Okay. In that category there is a new then modified form. Please keep in mind, like office calls have been run since extension education is going on in India, but now with time, easiness, or government is trying to have more and more easiness, and that is how they have introduced kisan call centers. So basically these act as call centers only, but this is specifically for kisan, where whatever the problem query kisan have, he can call on the landline number of kisan call center, and he can ask his doubt, and he would have any customer executive assigned, and he would be answering or giving solution for that particular question. और इंडिविजुअल कॉन्टैक्ट मेथड थ्रू लेटर्स के भी थ्रू कर सकते हैं. नेक्स्ट इज ग्रुप कॉन्टैक्ट मेथड. सो डेफिनेटली here we are not talking about one to one connection, we are talking about more people are there and one extension officer are there. उसमें पहला है हमारा मेथड एंड रिजल्ट डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन, एंड दीज क्वेश्चंस हैव ओनली बीन आस्क्ड इन पास्ट. मेथड डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन इज डिफरेंट, रिजल्ट डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन इज डिफरेंट. इन मेथड डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन you are being taught to do something step by step. For example, in a village there were like a lot of dairy farming is there, right? So they can be taught how to make ghee out of it, because definitely selling 1 kg, you already know that selling 1 kg milk will have a certain profit, but not as much as the farmer can have if he sell 1 kg of ghee. right? So method demonstration means showing them step by step, method by method, that how they can make ghee out of that milk, or maybe chena, or maybe like whatever thing, right? Whatever can be made out of it. So that is the method demonstration. In result demonstration, what happens, usually what happens, a lot of farmers, they are hesitant to try something new. It can be a new variety, it can be a new way of doing farming or anything. Why is it hesitant? Because if the result does not come, they would be doomed, right? So what happens in result demonstration, what the here extension officer do, they take a certain area, they take a certain land there in the village only, okay, where whatever they want to teach, maybe it can be any new variety or maybe new way of doing farming, or whatever they want to farmers to learn, what they do it over there, and at the end they show result, so that the farmer can be convinced that okay, this thing has whatever the activities were done, it was done on our land only, and we have seen better result in this particular section of land than the rest of the area, okay. So in method demonstration, step by step process is shown, while in result demonstration, the motive is to show the farmer the results, so that the farmers can get motivated and they have that that confidence also, that okay, they can try something new, ठीक है. इसके अलावा we have group meeting discussions that happen, ठीक है. इसके अलावा if we are talking about like a large population, like for example in method demonstration group meeting, we can still accommodate 5 to 10 people, right? But if it's like very much 100 200, what can be done? So for that conference, seminar, workshop या field trips वगैरह हो सकती है, ठीक है. So these are examples of group contact method, ठीक है. और एक mass community, like now we are talking about lakhs, ठीक है, lakhs and crores people. So through our social media, electronic media, print media, we can impart the knowledge that we want to impart, ठीक है. So that is a mass or community contact method, ठीक है. Before moving ahead, I just want to say one thing, where I told you that in formal education, the knowledge is always vertical, because from teacher only it's being going to students, because students have lesser knowledge than teacher in that scenario. Your non-formal education is usually it's considered horizontal, because farmers, they might not know about the new technology, but they still know about farming, right? So what happens in extension education, there is a two-way conversation. The farmer can also give some ideas or inputs as per, you know, whatever be the practice that is going on. If farmers feel like that it can be modified in a certain way, they can say so. Or maybe an extension officer has come, or maybe the employees have come, and they are teaching something, but farmers have doubts that, you know, maybe whatever they are saying, it might be like good, but in some other field, but not in our field due to xyz condition, okay. So that is why there will be two-way conversation, where farmer will also share the concerns, or maybe he can modify the existing plan or anything. So that is why non-formal is always said to be in horizontal in nature, while formal क्या होती है आपकी vertical होती है, ठीक है. और exhibition डेयरी मेला के through भी like with that you can actually contact to a lot of people, है ना. So these were your community contact method. Now methods of extension कैसे कर सकते हैं, जो commonly used है, farm and home visit, that we have already understood. Face to face contact होता है, ठीक है. Next is method demonstration, as I said, show technique of doing things, ठीक है, in a step by step method. In fact, how to make paneer, how to make ghee, even how for clean milk production, like you can show them step by step method. Demonstration में क्या होता है कि whatever recommended practices are there, their advantages are shown, so that the farmers, they can have that confidence, ठीक है. Group discussion में क्या होता है, more people are involved. What we are doing, देखो currently what we have seen कि how we are contacting with people, on that we have three category की individual method से होता है. That was the classification, right? Individual के through कर सकते हैं, through group हम कर सकते हैं, mass communication भी हम कर सकते हैं. Now what are the common methods, like so for example in exam if asked like methods of extension teaching commonly used in India, so these will be the one, ठीक है. Exhibition के through कर सकते हैं, campaign हम कोई run कर सकते हैं, field tours कर सकते हैं हम, ठीक है, ये सारी चीजें हैं. Print media के through कर सकते हैं, ठीक है. अब इसमें print media means what, basically we are giving them the printout where things have been written, and the farmer will read by himself, ठीक है. अब इसमें we can use like leaflets, folder, pamphlet, bulletin, booklet. You need not to memorize the definition, but I have just added it over here because so that you know the differences. Like for example, if you would have read about print media, you would have read okay newspaper, magazine, bulletins. Now some of you might have gotten confused यार bulletins क्या होता है, right? Or some of you might have gotten confused यार leaflet क्या होता है. So I just added definition over here so that you can understand what does it mean. But this is not like that's something that you should memorize for the examination or you should mug up for the exam, ठीक है. इस चीज का आपको ध्यान रखना है. तो प्रिंट मीडिया यूज होती है, रेडियोस कैन बी यूज, till now in most of the villages radio is still prominent source of communication. तो आप रेडियो को यूज कर सकते हैं, आप टेलीविजन भी यूज कर सकते हैं, जैसे आपके किसान आपके स्पेसिफिक चैनल्स हैं और डीडी है ना, जिसमें सिर्फ किसान से रिलेटेड इन्फॉर्मेशन दी जाती है, ठीक है। अब एवोल्यूशन की बात करें इंडिया में कैसे हुआ था, तो दिस एग्रीकल्चर एक्सटेंशन इट केम इनटू एग्जिस्टेंस इन इंडिया ड्यूरिंग द ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन. सो ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन इन इटसेल्फ इट्स अ वेरी सेपरेट कंसेप्ट, बट लेट मी टेल यू लाइक ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन जो है, how it started, because see we had like some conventional crops that we were growing in India, like farmers they were quite, you know, they were in the safety net. But what happened, the population was increasing, right, and there were no development in agriculture in terms of technology, right, in terms of new crop varieties or anything. Because of that the source the food was very limited and population was increasing, ठीक है। अब because of that we were dependent on foreign countries for completion of a nutrient requirement. Nutrient भी, I think that would be a very big word, we would say, just for, you know, for the sake of eating something we were dependent on grains and foods in the foreign country, especially for USA for grains, ठीक है, wheat के लिए आपके लिए हम USA में dependent थे. But because of that what happens, and that is why, you know, it's very important for every country to be self reliant, because if they will be dependent on some other country, the other country will try to control it in one way or another. So because of that what happened, even USA what it started to do, it started to control our economic policies, right. It was guiding us like where we should sign the memorandums, where we should not sign. And in fact let me tell you, जैसे जब जैसे कभी न्यूक्लियर पावर की बात या कहीं पे भी कुछ भी बात ऐसे आती थी, तो wherever we want to take our own stand, or maybe we would want to, you know, have our own relationship with any country maybe USA is not comfortable with, USA would use to stop this flow of grains to us, or maybe it would like, you know, manipulate, or maybe they would just tell us that they won't send it if we would not be in their favor, right. So these were the things that we were facing. And that is why, you know, then Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, Dr. Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, then he finally decided that no, we should like now focus on our country's production. And that is how like green revolution came into being. Also it talked about grains and pulses both, but majority focus was given on wheat and rice, and in here also much to wheat, but wheat and rice दोनों को importance दी गई थी. And that is how like this green revolution had flourished in India and everything, ठीक है। अब during तो अब उसमें क्या हो रहा है, तो because in that time what's happening, we are introducing fertilizer, we are introducing new crop varieties, we are introducing new technologies, right. Our farmers need to be trained about it. So that is how this extension education it came into being, ठीक है। हाई yielding varieties थी, ठीक है। इनपुट डिलीवरी में जैसे आपके फर्टिलाइजर्स थे, क्वालिटी सीड्स, फर्टिलाइजर, एग्रीकल्चर chemicals, how to use them, all these things were done through एग्रीकल्चर एक्सटेंशन, ठीक है। इसके बाद इसमें क्या हुआ कि तो थोड़ी और सब्सिडीज दी गई, ठीक है, स्टेट एग्रीकल्चर डेपोट्स वगैरह बनाए गए, तो ये सारी चीजें मतलब वो ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन के टाइम में चल रही थी। इसके बाद आपका 1970s में आपका क्या सेटअप हुआ, कृषि विज्ञान केंद्र हुआ, ठीक है। कृषि विज्ञान केंद्र इज ऑल्सो नोन एज फार्म साइंस सेंटर, लैब टू लैंड प्रोग्राम। वाई लैब टू लैंड, देखो लैब इज वेयर साइंटिस्ट आर वर्किंग, दे आर कमिंग अप विद न्यू डिस्कवरीज एंड इनोवेशन। लैंड इज वेयर एक्चुअली implementation need to be done by farmer, so there has to be a mediator. So KVK acted that as that mediator, ठीक है। तो लैब टू लैंड प्रोग्राम इसने रन करे, ठीक है। एंड इट इज अंडर ICAR, ठीक है, इंडियन काउंसिल ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर रिसर्च है, ये आपकी एपेक्स एग्रीकल्चर बॉडी इन इंडिया, इट इज दैट, ठीक है, ICAR। तो KVK उसके अंडर आता है। एंड व्हाट वाज इट्स एम टू गिव स्किल ओरिएंटेड वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग। वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग का मतलब स्किल ही डेवलप करना होता है, ठीक है। तो वही तो फार्मर्स टू टीच देम समथिंग न्यू, समथिंग प्रोडक्टिव दैट विल गिव देम बेटर यील्ड इन द फार्म, ठीक है। तो यही उसका मेन काम है, ठीक है। उसके अलावा आपके फिर और ज्यादा यू नो इसमें फोकस दिया गया, प्रमोशन किया गया कि जो आपकी प्राइवेट सेक्टर्स है दैट ऑल्सो कम फॉरवर्ड फॉर एग्रीकल्चर एक्सटेंशन। फिर एक आत्मा आपका एक इंस्टीट्यूट का नाम है, शॉर्ट में आत्मा बोलते हैं, फुल फॉर्म इज एग्रीकल्चर टेक्नोलॉजी मैनेजमेंट एजेंसी। दैट वाज सेट अप फॉर व्हाट पर्पस, देखो KVK इज एक्चुअली is the intermediator between lab and land. It is teaching the farmers, right, but who is going to train these people who will further go and teach the farmers, ठीक है। तो वो कहाँ पे हो रहा था, स्पेशली व्हेन इट कम्स टू टेक्नोलॉजी, ठीक है। KVK में तो जैसे आपको इंटरकल्चरल ऑपरेशन करना है ये सब भी आपको सिखा रहे हैं, ठीक है। लेकिन हु इज गोइंग टू टीच व्हाटएवर न्यू टेक्नोलॉजीज हैज कम to the farmers. There has to be people, and who will train these people? So for that Atma was set up. ठीक है, तो agriculture technology management agency, ठीक है, it was introduced initially. And what was it? Same level of technology dissemination, integrated research and extension activities. तो basically आत्मा का काम क्या था? First of all, it trains the people about technologies, then they would go further and teach the people. ठीक है, तो ये टू वे थिंक कर रहा है. पहले आपको क्या कर रहे हैं, यहाँ पे रिसर्च भी होती है टेक्नोलॉजी की एंड एवरीथिंग. पीपल आर ट्रेन्ड एंड दे गो एंड टीच अबाउट द टेक्नोलॉजी दैट फार्मर्स कैन यूज. और उसी के सिमिलर एक और बना था एग्रीकल्चर टेक्नोलॉजी इंफॉर्मेशन सेंटर. ठीक है, to act as a single window to disseminate the technologies developed in university and institute. ठीक है, please keep in mind, like you know, whenever one thing happens तो एक similar चीजें बनती हैं so that there can be specificity. अब जैसे पहले there was only agriculture department, right? Then of that horticulture was made separate, right? Fishery was made separate, forestry was made separate, so that individual focus can be made. तो ATIC भी वैसे ही बना था. ठीक है, इसके अलावा फिर अभी करंट प्रोग्रेस क्या, 2000 से क्या प्रोग्रेस है? न्यू प्राइवेट एक्सटेंशन एजेंसीज हैज कम. ठीक है, एग्री बिजनेस these units, organizations have been set up, financial agencies has been set up, so that you know, through extension technology, extension methods, the farmers they can be taught, they can become better. और उसी में एक scheme है agri clinic and agri business centers. So it's a scheme name. So if you are from agriculture background, you can enroll yourself under this particular scheme. And this you know, basically this scheme is around 2 months. Like you would have to stay there. All your states, they have certain centers where you are being trained for around 1-2 months. And you know, in these 2 months you are being taught that with your agriculture degree, like what are the self-employment opportunities you can have. So in that you can open agri clinics or agri business center, where what will happen, you can sell the products which are used in agriculture, just fertilizer, chemicals, etc. Because currently it's like mandatory to have agriculture degree if you want to sell fertilizers and stuff. ठीक है, agri clinic में जैसे for example what you will also be taught, like you know, what are the common crops that are grown in your area, what are the diseases that it can have, so that when farmer can come, it says agri clinic, right? So if farmer is coming and saying, yeah, my crop is facing this much and like physical difference aa raha hai, so you can tell that farmer, okay, maybe your crop is suffering from this fungus or maybe this pest, you can use this chemical or this like fungicide or pesticide to tackle that. ठीक है, तो ये एबीसी आपकी स्कीम है. अब एडवांटेजेस क्या है एग्रीकल्चर एक्सटेंशन स्पेसिफिकली अगर हम बात करें? इंक्रीज द एफिशिएंसी इन एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्शन, डेफिनेटली. ठीक है, एफिशिएंसी इन मार्केटिंग, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, यूटिलाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर इनपुट्स एंड आउटपुट्स. ठीक है, नेचुरल रिसोर्स का, बिकॉज व्हेन वी आर एफिशिएंटली यूजिंग थिंग्स, सो वी आर डूइंग कंजर्वेशन आल्सो. ठीक है, प्रॉपर मैनेजमेंट ऑन फार्म एंड एट होम, बेटर फैमिली लिविंग, बिकॉज इफ योर प्रोडक्टिविटी विल बी इम्प्रूव, better financial profit, better family living, youth development, so that more and more youth can come into agriculture and they are getting better profit there also. Leadership development, community development, improving public affairs, of all round development. These are advantages of your extension education in India, specifically for agriculture if we talk about. And again, now let's try to answer these questions and give me answer in the comment section. I hope you like the session. For more such videos, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and you can join our Telegram channel to get the PDF of this and every lecture that we provide here on YouTube. Thank you for watching and all the very best for exam.